Hey folks, how's it going? I hope you have had a good week. Sorry, I'm a little frazzled. I'm having a hard time getting my thoughts together. I did want to do a quick update on the corn and sunflowers and pumpkins that we planted back in June, I think. I can't remember. And I'm also going to show you our I don't know if I am or not. I might just talk you through it. I had a different plan for this video, but it's back to school time. And I think I've mentioned in previous blogs that I'm a teacher. And this week, I don't think I got home before 8 o'clock, but like one day all week. So, and my husband's in the same boat. He works for a local university and he has also been, running ragged. So, what I'm going to show you, don't get me wrong, overall, it's doing really well and it has handled this week of neglect pretty darn good. But I'm going to show you the sunflowers, corn, and pumpkins. And then I will turn you around. We're not going to get up close and personal with the rest of the garden, but I will turn you around and just kind of show you what we have. Bear in mind, no weeds have been pulled and nothing has been mowed in over a week. But I'm going to show you the area because I do want to talk a little bit about what our plan is for once it frosts. Man, the bugs are really loud. I'm sure you can hear that, but hopefully it's not too overbearing. But anyway, show you that, talk you through our plan for when it frosts, because the garden, apart from the hot peppers and the green and purple beans, it's pretty much over. Like, oh, and the okra is just now coming on. But everything else, weeds have pretty well taken over. I might go ahead and pick some of the bigger green tomatoes and make pickled green tomatoes or make fried green tomatoes or something before the season's over. But anyway, I also did want to mention too at this point that upload days will probably switch to Sundays, just for the sheer fact that like this is Saturday that I'm filming this and I'm going to have to do the whole video today because I haven't had time this week. I thought I was going to get ahead, but it just Murphy's Law and I have been like this all week. So I'm still managing, I'm still making it work, but just be aware. And if that ends up happening, I will make a post on my channel to, let you guys know that yes, for sure, be expecting videos on Sundays rather than Saturdays from now on. But with all that being said, I will flip you around and kind of talk you through how things are going and what the plan is for next year. Okay, so as you can see, the sunflowers are loving their lives. Oh, I mean, look at these. This is probably my most favorite thing that we've ever done in the garden. And next year I want it to be twice this much. Can you see all of these bumblebees everywhere? It makes me so happy. Anyway, I think I talked you through the varieties that I used when I first planted these. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I just love them so much. They're so pretty. Um, anyway, so sunflowers, loving life. I want to do double this much at least next year, because it makes me happy. The corn is doing okay. It didn't get very tall, which I kind of expected. I don't know, it's probably 6 feet high, and most of the stalks only put on 1 or 2 ears, which again, pretty well expected. Um, the pumpkins are struggle busing right now, but that is because, well, two reasons. One, it has been miserable, miserable hot all week, and we have not been consistently watering. And two, I'm having a squash bug issue. So tonight, when all the pollinators have kind of gone to bed, I'm going to treat the pumpkins for squash bugs. A few plants, I think it's too little too late, but I'm going to go ahead and do it just in case, because pumpkins do root in on their vines. Like, I don't know if I can show you, but like I'm not going to be able to pull this up out of the ground because it's where they're our leaves, they put off little root shoots. So I don't think I'm totally out of luck on the pumpkins that have been attacked by squash bugs, but like I said, I'm going to go ahead and treat and hope for the best. And then, like I said, I'm not getting up close and personal, but welcome to the jungle. We do not have fun and games right now. We just have heat and dryness and weeds. But this is the current garden area. Next year, what we are wanting to do is we are wanting to, one, take the raised beds out because they are falling apart. My husband built them for me when we first moved here, and they have served their purpose well. But the truth, blah, 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 I'll spit out a full sentence in a second. The truth of the matter is we just need more food production for our household. So what we're going to do is we are going, once it frosts, we're going to take everything out in front here. And let me back up some so you can kind of get the full picture. So that, let me see, that fence line over there where like it's kind of brushy, that's the property line. And then of course our house. So what our plan is where that really giant, those are tomatoes way over there where I'm pointing in front of the propane tank. So our intention is to wipe everything out. What's happening here? Did everything just go really dark? I hope it didn't for the sake of the video. Maybe it's just my eyes. I don't know. Anyway, from where those really tall tomatoes are over to the property line, and then let's see here, probably to about where I'm standing. So like it's not a great gauge, but I would say it's probably, I don't know, 25 yards. I'm still about a yard or two from our driveway, but we want to take this whole area from there to the property line. And we may leave like a little alleyway between the property line and the garden, don't know yet. But we are going to make this whole area garden and put in an actual like corn field, like a little corn field, and do the sunflowers and do the pumpkins, and we're going to row crop everything. And we're going to put in some rows of cattle panel fencing for the tomatoes, peas, beans, cucumbers, and squash. So that's the plan, and I will do my very best to bring you along and kind of walk through that as we do it this fall. I really am going to do my best. I'm learning how to manage my time a little bit better, so just bear with me on that. But anyway, that's the plan for now. Hot peppers are still going for it. Bell peppers are still going strong. The tomatoes look like who done it and what for, and everything else is pretty well toast at this point. I sowed my beets, and I think it got too hot and too dry. I don't think they're going to germinate. I might try to sow them again in the next 2 weeks, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that, and I may just not even mess with it. I know lots of other local farmers that I can get that kind of stuff from if I decide that I absolutely can't live without it. So there's there's that in all of its in all of its glory. So yeah, that's the plan for the garden, to make our lives hopefully a little bit easier next growing season. I'm heading inside now. I need to can so much today, and I probably will not I'm gonna vlog it, but it'll probably be on a time lapse and a voiceover situation, because this house is a pigsty. I mean, I've been leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning and not getting home until 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And, we've got, sorry if that just really messed with the sound. I've got to keep that in mind. I'm working on it. But, we've got a 9-month-old in the house, and things get messy and things get gross, and the house needs my attention. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I need to reprocess some peach hot pepper jelly because it did not set. And so I will do a time lapse with that with a voiceover and kind of talk you through how to do that, because it can be done. And then I need to make some Cowboy candy, which is basically candied hot peppers. It's mostly done with jalapenos, but I've got some serranos that I need to use, so I'm going to do jalapenos and serranos together. Um, what else? Those will probably be the only two things that I can get accomplished today as far as canning goes, because like I said, I have got to clean this house. So let's go inside and get some canning done. Okie doke, folks. So here I am making some Cowboy candy. It's essentially candied hot peppers. Most people use jalapenos. You can use any hot pepper. Just understand that the hotter the pepper you use, the hotter the product you're going to have. So I used a combination of serranos and jalapenos. I did not de-seed the serranos, but I did take the seeds and ribs out of the majority of the jalapenos, except the small ones that I couldn't fiddle with. I just left those in, and I cut all my hot peppers into rings and weighed them out. I've got that stainless bowl on a scale. That's what that's for. I'm weighing my peppers to make sure I have the correct weight for my recipe. And in a few, I will make my brine and get these processed. Okay, folks, I know that was quite the crash course in preserving some ways to preserve some hot peppers. I did go ahead and make some notes of some things that I did this week, along with just some additional information to some of the things that I did today. So for the Cowboy candy, I don't think I mentioned in the voiceover, and even if I did, it's worth repeating. Make sure if you are working with any type of hot pepper that you wear gloves. I hate gloves. I have teeny weeny hands. No gloves ever fit me. They're cumbersome. They're awkward for me to use. I don't like them. But when you are working with hot peppers, it is essential to use gloves because you do not want those oils getting on your hands and then you touching your face or your eyes, or like in my case, I waited to do all of this stuff today because I didn't want Lily in the house while I was doing it, because if you're a mom watching this, I'm sure you can relate in some capacity of like your mind going, well, what if I drop a seed on the floor and I don't notice it and she picks it up and puts it in her mouth, or she puts it in her eye, or she touches something on the floor and then she rubs her eyes and blah, 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 blah. So I wanted to get all of the stuff done with the hot peppers today while she is at her Grammy and Papa's house. So I, start to finish, I did all of the stuff with the hot peppers, and then I really cleaned the kitchen and the floors and all that good stuff. So gloves are essential. And then I think I did mention, but again, if I didn't, I'll link the recipe in the description. The recipe that I used, it calls for 4 pounds of jalapenos. I had 2 pounds of jalapenos and serranos mixed, so I just adjusted the rest of the recipe to fit the 2-pound ratio instead of the 4-pound ratio. So for instance, the recipe that I'm linking calls for 4 pounds of peppers, 1.5 cups of vinegar, 4 cups of sugar, a tablespoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon turmeric, half a teaspoon of celery seed. So with 2 pounds of peppers, I did 3/4 of a cup of vinegar, 2 cups of sugar, half a tablespoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, and a 1/4 teaspoon, quarter teaspoon, and I did mustard seed instead of celery seed because I just prefer that flavor. I've been doing this long enough that I know that I would rather have that than celery seed. If you're unsure or you've never done this before, it's always best to just stick to a recipe that's highly rated, preferably through a vetted site like we've talked about, like the Sure Gel site or the Ball Canning site, those places where they're not posting things that are potentially dangerous. And then let's see here. I think that's all I wanted to mention that was additional on the Cowboy candy or the candied hot peppers. Processing time. The recipe called for 10 minutes of processing time. I did 15, adjusting for our altitude. I think I've mentioned that in a previous vlog, but just in case you didn't see that, you do need to, whenever you're canning, you do need to look up your altitude, because most canning recipes, unless they say specifically they're designed for a certain altitude, are just designed for sea level to 1,000 feet above sea level, as far as the timing goes for how long you should process. So where I live with my altitude, it's always just a 5-minute increase. So instead of 10 minutes, I did those half pint jars. I did 15 minutes. If you did pint jars and you live in my area, you would have need to have done 20 minutes, because at sea level 2,000 feet above, it'll be 15 minutes. I hope that didn't confuse anybody. It probably did. Sorry, shouldn't even mentioned it. But anyway, that's all the additional information I wanted to talk about with the candied hot peppers. For the peach jalapeno jelly, or jalapeno peach jelly, it's more peach heavy, but it feels awkward to say peach first instead of jalapeno. Anyway, I digress. So to reprocess jelly, basically you've got a 24-hour window, and after you process something, and in that 24 hours, if your jam or jelly still hasn't set in the jar, like you move the jar and it's still runny, basically the consistency it was in the pot while you were cooking it, you can reprocess it. And in fact, you need to do it within 24 to 48 hours of the initial processing. So the general rule of thumb is for every 4 cups of product that you have, you add in an additional 1/4 cup of sugar and an additional 1 tablespoon of pectin. So like with this jelly recipe, I'm going to link it in the description box. I don't remember all of the measurements right off the top of my head. I did it yesterday, and yesterday we were in some dire straits with Miss Lil and teething. She was extremely needy and extremely fussy and extremely clingy. And it was my intention to film and like talk you through how I made it and all that good stuff, but it just did not happen. So it is the Sure Gel recipe for jalapeno peach jelly. I will link it in the description box. But basically, I ended up with 6 cups of product. So I did a 1/4 cup of sugar plus 1/8 of a cup of sugar, and then I did 1.5 tablespoons of pectin, and I just reprocessed that. So basically, I put all of my jelly back into my pot. I brought it to a rolling boil, and then once it got to that point, I put the additional sugar and pectin in it, brought it back up to a rolling boil, and I boiled that for a minute solid, stirring the whole time so you don't scorch the bottom of your so you don't scorch the jelly in the bottom of your pan. And then cut the heat, refilled jars. I did half pint jars with the jelly as well, and then processed it per instructions, which I think was another 15 minutes with the half pint jars. So there's that. And then I also this week, and I didn't film it, but like just little snippets here and there. I think I probably put some in the intro, and I might put some in the outro of this, but I did pickle some banana peppers, and I made 8 quarts of dill pickles. I'm sorry, guys, my contact is feeling funky. Anyway, I ended up with 4 pints of banana peppers, and gosh, I think, yeah, I already said 8 quarts of dill pickles. With the dill pickles, I just did the Mrs. Wages. I used to make homemade, it's all homemade, but I used to make homemade dill pickles with, fresh dill and garlic, and I I make, not to toot my own horn, I make very good dill pickles, but with Lily around and being more hands-on right now, the Mrs. Wages, each just the same. It's still a dill pickle. So I did the slices, and I will show those in the outro. I'll just put everything that I canned this week, and some of the stuff that I've done that I did last week. I think I did the bread and butter pickles last week. I'll put all that together and kind of just show you it all together because I think it's pretty. um, and it there's something fulfilling about it for me to like see it all together and like I did all of this to feed my family for the upcoming months, and I feel good about that. Um, so, like I said, I will link the banana peppers, the pickled banana peppers recipe that I used in the description box. And I will, well, I don't need to link the dill pickles because I just used the Mrs. Wages pouch, just like I did with the bread and butter pickles. So yeah, I think that about does it for this week. Again, I apologize for it being late. Plan on vlogs going live on Sundays from now on. I thought I could get it together for Saturdays, but I just don't foresee that happening with my schedule because at least for the first month and a half of school, I'm still not going to be getting home until 6 or 6:30 of an evening, and I leave the house, you know, between 6:30 and 7. So it's just not um, not feasible for the time being. So we'll just go with a Sunday schedule. And next week, I think we will probably do some what I wore the first week of school. And I don't know. We'll just kind of see where the spirit moves me. But I hope y'all had a great week and are having a great weekend. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.